Hello and welcome to McClendon Studios, Random Thoughts and Observations. I'm your host, David E. McClendon Sr. And my youngest son has asked me to share some of the different rescue squad or EMT stories I have. And I want to tell you about one that was a big concern back when it happened. It's the story of the Meals on Wheels truck. One day there was an accident. A truck had gone to pass a tractor that was pulling a mower behind it, and as the truck pulled out, its gas tank, it had some of those exterior gas tanks, this gas tank hit the back of the mower, and it cut a rip into the gas tank, and the spark ignited the gas tank. And so there was the truck was on fire, and this particular truck was one of the contract carriers for Meals on Wheels, the people that provided the meals to the Anderson County Meals on Wheels. Anyway, this particular accident occurred inside of Abbeville County, but at that point in time, there was no 911 or E911, and it occurred in Abbeville County, but the place where it happened just so happened to have an IVA address. Well, the people didn't know exactly who to call that saw this accident, called to report it, so they called the operator and told them where they were, and the operator looked, and it was an IVA address. So she called the IVA dispatcher, and IVA dispatcher was based in the town hall in Ivy, South Carolina. Well, the dispatcher dispatched the Ivy Rescue Squad because it was an Ivy address, and at this point in time, everybody was in all kind of arguments over jurisdiction, about who had jurisdiction over what, liability. If we leave our jurisdiction, are we liable for different things that happen? All sorts of lawsuits took place. And counties didn't want to pay for services that were rendered outside their county, so County A wouldn't want to send a fire truck into County B to fight a fire because it would be at County A's expense to fight the fire in County B. At the same time, there were a lot of instances of fire departments charging a subscription fee to people so that it would help support the fire department. Therefore, if people didn't pay the subscription fee, they didn't get fire service when they needed it. And there were situations where a house would catch on fire, and people there watching the house burn would be offering to give the fire department the money for the subscription fee right then and there, and they said, we can't do it. You know, the subscription fee has to pay before the fire starts for it to be valid. There were numerous occasions of this. One time, Suzanne and I saw a car on fire in a parking lot there in Greenwood, South Carolina, and we went to a substation of the city fire department that was almost in sight of the fire, and reported, and they said, well, we can't do anything about it. That's in the county, and we're in the city, and we can't go out of the city. And we thought that that was kind of stupid. Well, Ivy didn't play by those rules. Ivy had an ambulance that had been paid for by the people in and around the area of Ivy, and they also had an ambulance that was paid for by the taxpayers of Anderson County. As luck would have it, when we got ready to go, we jumped into the ambulance that was owned by Ivy Rescue Squad, and we went to take it out of the county. Well, as we were approaching the county line, Anderson County Rescue Control got on the radio and told us that we had to cancel the call because this call was in Abbeville County, not Anderson County. Our fire chief, our rescue chief, got on the radio and told us, you're in the Ivy-owned ambulance, you just keep right on going. Don't listen to rescue control. So off we went. And about the time we approached the this accident, we noticed that the truck was on fire, the tractor was on fire, and the area all around was on fire. And the fire was getting real close to the second gas tank on this truck. So our driver called the Ivy dispatch and told them that we needed a fire protection. And since the only fire department that Ivy dispatch could dispatch was the Ivy Fire Department, they dispatched them. And their situation was the same. They had some trucks that were owned by the county and some trucks that were owned by the volunteer fire department itself. And fire control, which is in the same building as rescue control, actually it was at that point in time, there was two desks that sat parallel to one another with a swivel chair in between, and the dispatcher for fire control was the same dispatcher as was for rescue control. He just turned back and forth from one to the other and talked to them on different radio consoles. Anyway, the fire control told the Ivy fire trucks that they couldn't leave the county, and the fire chief got on the radio and told them it's Ivy fire trucks that they can in fact leave the county, and they would. So the Ivy Fire Department rolled, and about the time they were pulling up, this was just before the fire reached that second gas tank, And just before the fire consumed us, where we were working on the victim in this fire, they got the fire out and saved our lives. And it was a very good thing that they got there when they did. Had it been just a few minutes later, all of us in the rescue squad would have probably perished right there. As it turned out, the gentleman that had been driving the Meals on Wheels truck was in shock. He was standing up watching everything going on, watching the fire burn, and he didn't have any idea that he was as hurt as he was. Our EMT that was in charge was ultra professional, and he got the guy to sit down on the cot and the stretcher. We applied sterile sheets and the sterile Triton water to his burns. It appeared that he was covered over most of his body with second and third degree burns. Got him on the stretcher, got him into the ambulance, and we started leaving. Our driver was as professional as could be. It was like watching a maestro play a fine violin. He drove that ambulance just absolutely perfectly, and usually you can tell an ambulance is top heavy. There's a lot of rocking that goes on, but not this particular time, not with this particular driver. As we approached the city of Anderson, our driver got on the radio. He had neglected to close the door that's between the driver's compartment and the patient's compartment, and so we could hear all the radio calls, everything that was said on the radio. And he got on the radio and he called Rescue Control and told them, we need some help getting through these red lights. We need the notify Anderson City Police. We need help with these red lights. It's going to be life or death. Well, the guy in the back heard this. He says, life or death? What do you mean life or death? And he sat up on the stretcher, and he was all concerned. And our EMT was, like I said, an ultra professional. He said, no, that's just what he says so that we can get the cooperation to get through town. And he lied to him. It really was a life or death situation. Anyway, he got him to lay back down and get back calmed down. And we went through town, and there was a great coordinated effort. The police chief, the Anderson City Police Chief, met us in his car at the city line and escorted us through, and each red light along the way was blocked off with either Anderson Police Department, APD, or the Anderson County Sheriff's Office, ACSO, or the Highway Patrol. They all had all these lights blocked off to guide us on through, and they had the lights set to flashing yellow instead of operating as a normal green light, so that we had these flashing yellow lights all the way through. We got to the hospital. Once we got him to the hospital, they got the gentleman stabilized and got him loaded into a medevac hospital. And the official termination was that he suffered second and third degree burns over 99% of his body. I don't know if he ever lived, how long he lived after that. But it was a wonderful day in the to see all these things work together. It was a shame that the guy had been burned as badly as they did, but it was good to see all these different departments work together after we got done with rescue control flawlessly. But as I understand it, and now I told this whole thing from my understanding, it was nearly 40 years ago, so I probably misunderstood it or misremembered it or whatever, but as I understand things, charges were to be filed against the Iowa Rescue Squad and the Iowa Fire Department for leaving the Anderson County when we did. Well, Judge G. Ross Anderson volunteered his services pro bono to be our attorney, and he was a sitting judge at the time. Anyway, no trial, no reports to file. And that's the story of the Meals on Wheels accident. If you like this, give us a not a call, drop us an email, or if you want to call if you get the number. Drop us an email at gindiesvideos@gmail.com, or leave us a comment in the comment box below. Subscribe to us on YouTube, or become a follower here on the blog and let us know if we're doing okay, what you like or what you don't like. And we thank you. This is a Federal Trade Commission required notice. When you click on an advertisement that is displayed with this video, or just before it, we receive a small commission. Sometimes, if you merely watch an ad, we receive commission. If you purchase anything by clicking on links on any of our websites, we receive a commission as well. McClendon Studios is a participant in the Amazon Services LLC Associates Program, an affiliate advertising program designed to provide a means for sites to earn advertising fees by advertising and linking to Amazon.
Suzanne has written a great book of poetry. It is called Shattered. You can find it on Amazon.com. We have a new book. Many people want to know if homeschooling will work for them. This book may help you answer that question. You can find it on Amazon.com.
We also offer you the book How to Pay Off Your Debt. Buy it on Amazon.com.
On the 18th of August, in honor of my beautiful child bride Suzanne, all of our books will be free.